Hey guys, it's Matt. Whether you've seen the 2017 movie Other Life or not, I think this will be an interesting discussion. If you're driving or you can only listen, I'm just going to show thumbnails of the only movie reviewer in the history of the world that can't even show 1 second of a movie or risk the video being taken down. But we always try to apply the movie to bigger issues, studying reality, studying things that we like to talk about. So, it's not that important to see the clips. And many of you should watch this movie. I thought it was very good. 2017, I guess made in Australia. It is medium to low budget, but certainly does not come off as super low budget at all. Whatever the low budget was, they do a pretty nice job. And I was impressed with this movie. It was the second time I've seen it. I think I've mentioned it before, but I've never done a complete review and talk through all the issues. So let's do that now. Regarding getting into the plot, I don't think spoilers are really possible because the movie kind of falls apart at the end. I'm not even going to mention the ending. It's more of the technology, the biotechnology that the woman appearing on your screen now, she's the star of the movie. Her name is Ren. She's developed with her partner Sam a biotechnology. A drop goes in the eye that creates a virtual reality, and things kind of go bad for her. But it's funny. I'm just looking at the names before we get into the plot. I'm looking at the names again, and Ren. Her name is Ren. It reminds me of Star Wars. Her partner is Sam. Why does certain movie makers, maybe affiliated with Kathleen Kennedy in Star Wars, they don't believe the Western public can comprehend a character name of more than one syllable? In the Star Wars, it just reminded me you have Ren and Sam, but in the horrible last three Star Wars, you have Poe, Finn, and Rey. Does anybody have two or could you imagine three syllables? Ren, Sam, Poe, Poe, Finn, Rey, Poe, Finn, Rey, Sam, Ren, Poe, Pan. Wait, give me a break. It's like the same thing. Anyway, sorry. So Ren here, who's partnered with Sam, they have a technology company and the product being released is called OtherLife. And the way they do it, it gets into it pretty quickly. It is pretty neat. A biotechnology, which she keeps saying is it's not a technology, she's saying it's bio software. It's a drop that goes in the eye. And when the drop goes in the eye, the person immediately experiences a complete virtual reality. And it's really neat the way they do it on a somewhat low budget, just emerging out into an incredible, beautiful scenery, the Swiss Alps or the Canadian Rockies, about to snowboard down a huge mountain all by yourself. It's, in terms of that fantasy, just emerging into another world, they do a heck of a good job. It's almost worth seeing just for that alone. I guess this is one of the scenes here. Let me click on this exciting thumbnail, this new and exciting thumbnail. So the procedure, they have a little bit of a monitor on the brain, and of course, I think the black goo. We'll talk about all these issues, guys. The black goo goes in the right eye. The black goo in the right eye. We have a Mr. Klaus Vea commenting on this video. If he wants to chime in as to what the meaning of the black goo is. It is absolutely like a black goo. I've been doing this truth thing a long time, guys. I am not able to take a podium and talk about the black goo. How that comes and goes in the truth community, I don't really know. And I'll pay attention, I'll listen, but it has not ever been my thing, and I have not been terribly interested in the topic. But I don't poo-poo it either. I mean, there could be something to it. Behind the final curtain of this reality, it could be an AI type system that I keep drawing a parallel to the strangers in Dark City that want to understand the human, that want to get close to the human soul, that want to stand next to Carol Ann in the closet, that they don't, it's missing something that we have, and it wants to understand it or take it from us or get closer. So we'll just leave. It is like a black goo. It goes usually in the right eye, but I'm not sure every time they administer it to the right eye. You emerge in incredible virtual reality scene, and some of the same themes we've been talking about recently. You go under for about a minute, but it's like I might not even be using this word correctly, but I like the word, and I'm going to keep using it in this sense, a time dilation. a time dilation. So she could snowboard this mountain for 8, 10 hours all day long. And when she comes back out, they're still testing the product. It hasn't gone live to the public yet. They're testing it like on site, on premises. Only 1 minute has gone by. So you have the same themes we've been talking about regarding time dilation. Every time you go lower into a more virtual system, a more virtual reality that's farther away from spiritual self, it presents the time is slowed or stretched from our perspective. So that happens here in OtherLife, and it happens when we dream as well. We talked about this recently. Most I think New England Journal of Medicine and all the official sources, I mean, they've kind of come to the conclusion that dream time is very similar or the same as waking time. But in terms of practice and my own experience and the people that commented and emailed me, and some people have incredible dream experiences, most of those people confirmed that the dream is a slower reality, like going under here in OtherLife. And, the dream may be a 30-minute segment of the dream, and the person wakes back up and only 3, 4, 5 minutes have gone by in the, quote, real world. So I appreciate all the people that provided some information to me to confirm what I thought. So this is the same way. And it's very similar to the way the movie Inception presented it, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio called Deception. No, Inception. He's Leonardo, but he's Leo, so that's not his character name. His character name is probably one syllable too, but I forget what it was. And then they had little pregnant Juno was in that movie. That's the same thing. If you go down in layers, if you go down like 4 or 5 layers, one day goes by at the 5th level, and years go by in the, quote, real world. So I don't, there's no huge master breakthrough takeaway coming out of this, but it's worth noting, though, a repeating theme that as you move lower, the time is stretched or slowed, whether it be the movie Inception, the way it's presented here, our dreams, and the only connection that I comes to mind, and I guess just who knows? I'm just kind of talking on the fly. Maybe the farther away we get from our true path, our true spiritual selves, our higher self, God, whatever aspect of ourselves is not here, maybe time is slowed down big time. And that things like why do I keep saying over years and years that coming into this reality or this life, probably from an outsider's perspective or outside the snow globe, it'd be like stepping in and out of a closet for 1/2 of 1 second. So we put all this stock and importance to this life, but from outside of it, well, a big deal. So even if you suffered it, you're going in and out in 1/2 second. So this theme kind of repeats, even the way, just on the fly, I've talked about it, that the farther you are from spiritual self, like the time slows down, and there's something to that. There's something, and maybe that's the goal of the creeps or the AI system or whatever stands behind the screen to get somebody to keep moving. It always wants to move a human being lower and lower down, where and each level lower, the time it would take to get back to its true self gets stretched, so the AI can spend more time with Carol Ann in the closet, that sort of thing. Who knows? I guess I'm supposed to be doing a movie review here, not just straying into how potentially reality works. So let me finish the plot here, and we'll go on to a couple other things. So the plot, they're just days away from this going, like imagine like the Facebook IPO, and this is like 10 times bigger. It's going to change the world. 5 days away from release to the public, but there's some code issues. There's some glitches, and she's let's just go over here to we need other fun and exciting images and thumbnails. It glitches, and she's not being honest. She's the lead coder or programmer. She's not being honest with Sam. She's Ren. The partners Sam. Poe and Finn and Ray aren't in this one, but she's not the guy. She's the coder and the technological expert. The partner Sam is the businessman. He is an asshole, not kind of an asshole. He's an asshole. He's immediately looking to make money. He doesn't really care about the technical side. He just, hey, we need 5 days to release. We need to move forward. We need to move forward. That the investor guy. And it starts to glitch, and she has somebody she's just say dating at the company. They're experimenting on it, and it goes bad. And he dies. Yeah, he just goes into convulsions, and they're 4 days away. Does she say anything? What happened? So she comes clean. Somebody at the company, they were experimenting on things they shouldn't have been experimenting on. He dies. She's held for murder. But Sam, let's see if we can find some other exciting images here. Is Sam going to... She's like in everything. Let's just go to this one. This guy is he's the technical expert. He's not the part owner of the company, but he helps them go under and monitors the heart rate and everything when they go under in the virtual reality experiment. So Sam, of course, is always trying to work a deal business, and he brings in the prison people, the head of prisons. I guess I don't know if they mention what country they're in. It was filmed in Australia. And the head of prisons is like, this is a whole new way of dealing with prisoners. We put prisoners under for years, but in the real world, they're only going under for a minute or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And they'll come out having served a 20-year sentence in just a matter of minutes. And they will have suffered, but they won't even have to be taken to jail. As soon as sentence is passed, they're taken into a room, the black goo spunk stuff is put into their eye, and then they'll go under, 20-year sentence, come out in a minute. No expense to the taxpayer, and everybody's all excited about this. She sees it. She doesn't like it. It's inhuman, whatever. But they're saying to her, you just killed your lover, and they had a secret relationship, I guess. I don't know, with the company. You just killed him. So you can either go to jail for 20 years at the real prison, and got a nice room there next to Red and Andy at Shawshank, or you can do the experiment right here, and you'll get out in a minute, 1 minute later. Now, you'll have to serve a full year in the virtual environment. And this part is very interesting, very creepy, very worthwhile seeing the movie just in this. So she says, fine, goes under, put the guy here is going to put the black goo in her eye, monitor her. She wakes up in this cell, and all it is a dark room with a little pad to sleep on, with the same day delivers the same food and drink, and the huge digital board shows her what day, because he says something about the human being has to know what, has some sort of time continuity, where the person will go insane. So the huge board here it says if you're just driving in digital zeros and ones, some sort of monitor, it says 87. She's on day 87, and she has a year, and she knows as the coder to this thing, or the person that created the bio virtual reality technology, she knows the real problem or the real risk in this is not being able to come out. I mean, this is truly scary to think about, going under in a situation and not being able to come out. We'll talk about that as it relates to what people will say about this life, returns, the recycling that people believe in and things like that. But she knows that's the big thing. If you don't come out, you're screwed. Potentially, you could live thousands of years in an hour and be literally mentally stuck in a virtual reality for thousands of years. So she gets to day 365. This is a little bit of a spoiler. It is a spoiler, this part, because this is not the end of the movie at all. It's definitely the most interesting part of the movie by a factor of 100. But I have to talk this through. And I still think you should see it. You'll still want to see how they film this and how great this scene is. 365 is showing all day long. She knows once this day goes by, she comes out. And I don't think there is a 1 here, so I'm just going to go back to 87. But at the end of the day, as the days change, it turns red, it flashes, flash, flash, flash. So if she's sleeping, she knows that's the end of a day, and the number goes up by 1. At the end of 365, it goes flash, flash, flash. She's waiting to come out. She's served a whole year of time in her mind. Back in the real world, it's only a minute, but from a mental perspective, it's a full year. It's really no different than serving a real year in prison. it flashes and it resets back to 1. And it is truly a great scene. It goes back to 1, which means the whole thing starts over. She does not come out. That her best hope is to do another year. And she just screams in horror. And, the ultimate horror associated with it is not that she has to do one more year, but what at the end of the second year, it resets back to 1. And she's in this loop, an eternal loop of hell in this cell. And there's ways back in the real world, she's instructed them, if I can't come out, to inject me with this syringe or whatever. And they can monitor from the computer. He can monitor how much time she's spent inside. So theoretically, he should be able to see that she has gone to day 366, 367, is now in her second year, and apparently he should be able to bring her out with, it's not easy. It's not like just taking the headset off and say, wake up, little child, wake up, sweetie. No, he has like inject her in the heart or something like this, Pulp Fiction. So it's kind of nasty. And that makes sense. Like it wouldn't be that exciting of these scenes in the movie if there was an easy way to come out and you couldn't potentially be trapped. Just little water on the face, a little splash of a warm towel from a first class airline ticket, and you just come out. No, it's hard to get people out. That if it wasn't for that, there'd be no movie. So it's very, very well done. And if you want to see certain parts of this movie, the end really kind of falls apart. But I'm not going to, I won't mention it. It's not horrible. It really isn't horrible. It's worth seeing to the end. It's just these scenes are why you watch the movie, and these concepts are why you watch the movie. One other thing, went over to Wikipedia here. One other thing about the prison in a moment, but I was just trying to see if there were any statistics on the budget or how much it took in. And it's almost always there on Wikipedia what the budget is versus the box office gross. There's nothing here. Runtime 96 minutes. It's worth looking at the gematria for this one because of what I'm about to show you guys. It's worth, this is because of what I'm about to show you. It is a movie that carries a truth message to a degree that came from it. What back room from the creeps it came from, I don't, obviously we don't know, but it came from there because of what I'm about to show you. So let me do that now. I was gonna talk about something about the prisoner, but I can't, keep you hanging on that. I found the image over here. Okay. I'm not going to tell you when this is. It doesn't matter. It's towards the end of the movie. She comes in and she's I'm not going to give any plot details here. You just have to see it. It's not really that relevant. Because she's waiting on somebody to get something for her, records or whatever it might be. I forget. Now, this structure here, I'll describe it if you're driving, when she walks in, is a cube. It's just a cube, a three-dimensional cube with, here you can see there's like 20 different bars you can see and lines. But when you spin it, if you spin it to a certain perspective from the eye, it's a perfect cube with, all these bars and lines and pieces of iron are not there. When you spin it, then you can see what it really is from a different perspective. It only looks like a cube if viewed from one specific angle, if this makes any sense. But so she knows what this is. It's a piece of art. She spins it. Of course, when it stops, I have talked about this. I remember talking about this in the past at some point. IXXI, which is Roman numeral 9, Roman numeral 11. Okay, so you spin the cube, this comes up, and there's no point. It's very subtle. I would say it seems obvious here, but out of the people watching this in the theater, maybe 1 in 20 would pick up. This says IXXI, that there would be Roman numerals in the cube. Because she's just kind of waiting on this person to come back with something. I don't even know who she's talking to here. She just kind of spins it because she's bored. The way if somebody had, remember those, what were they called? Newton's balls. That might not be the best way to put it. But remember those, Newton's pendulum. Just if you were waiting on somebody and the Newton's pendulum was at the desk, you just kind of pull one ball back and start playing with Newton's balls. That's not the best way to put it, but you know what I mean. So she just doesn't even care. Just spins it. The audience looks at it and says, "Oh, that's interesting. It was a cube, and now it was a piece of art." But then the IXXI, there's no reason to put that in there unless this movie is a little bit creepier than one may suspect. Now, you conspiracy people, you read into everything. Okay, what I know, there's probably nobody stumbled upon this video. Actually, there could be people that are interested in other life. You never know. You never know. Somebody going, I was getting a decent review of the movie. Now this conspiracy stuff is starting. What kind of channel is this? Whoever stumbled upon this, stay here a while. Stay here a while. See if you'll be able to get out of bed in the morning. So you don't put this in, guys. IXXI, come on. Unless something, little message is being sent here. I don't know. It creates more a legitimacy in looking at this movie from a truth perspective. Just this by itself. Okay. So let's just go back to it. It was available for me for free. Because IMDb is one of these channels through Comcast cable, like Tubi, or Peacock. You just whatever, if it's available on IMDb, they give it to you for free with commercials. So I was like, okay, cool, watch it. So the other aspect of one last thing about the prisoner aspect, if using this application for prisoners, it's a little scary because they get into, I think, some of these topics before she goes under. One of the prison board or something says, we could use this, I forget how it goes down, but we could use this technology for really horrible criminals. They could serve multiple life sentences, centuries. They could serve centuries. And it could be used as a deterrent. Somebody could go under, and if they perfect this technology, and she says we've never used it for anybody going under that long. We've only experimented with people going under for a day to go snowboard or to go into a hot air balloon. But, theoretically, once they perfect the technology, some prisoner could go under for centuries in a little room, centuries. It truly is, that aspect really is disturbing, and really is fascinating. And, maybe it's disturbing because we're like, look out your window in the Earth snow globe and say, well, this life is this life, but how long have we been here? And is something, all those truth channels that talk about is there's something like archonic beings or whatever blocking a way out for us. Guys, I'm not here to deliver scary stuff or bad news, or nor to say things to just make myself feel better. I believe if there are tricks like that, the work we're doing now, the way we're seeing through things, the veils we're dropping, it all will carry over. I don't think anything can stop us from getting out of here if we want to. Every day goes by, and obviously I'm not coming at that obviously from a Christian perspective or anything like that. I have no personal religion, but I consider myself to be a very spiritual person. Take that what you will, if you will. So, I'm not worried. Somebody wants to, Matt, look at this scary video that, we potentially will be recycled back here 1,000 more times. It doesn't bother me at all. I just go, no, I won't be. It's that simple. That's false confidence and arrogance. No, think what you want. Those videos do not scare me at all, because you can the work and the training we're doing here will absolutely pay dividends. What's the point of it? Of course. Anyway, sorry. So, what are the other? And is there anything else here I didn't mention? Let me pause here, guys, and make sure, like, little notes I wrote down, I'm not missing anything big, and I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I'll talk about a few more things, but guys, if the video's over, nothing more significant at all on OtherLife. Just mention a few more things, like there's some people that emailed me that they're in quarantine or whatever, and basically they're in the same situation as this woman is in, basically, especially if you're in Australia. Maybe they have you in a little room with the days flashing up on an electronic board right in front of you, like the Kenny Rogers Roasters neon sign with Kramer living across the street. Every time Jerry opened his door, the orange light would just beam in. So some people in quarantine, they would like me to go a little bit longer. So I wanted to mention how obnoxious this is. When I go to Wikipedia, I don't go there much. the world standard on what reality is. It will tell you. Wikipedia will tell you what reality is, and it's the mother of Snopes. It's the mother and father of Snopes. But it tells you how many times. It'll tell me it knows how many times I've been there. This obnoxious stuff comes up. Hi, reader. Anybody driving, little pop up right at the top. As you know, you've seen this on Wikipedia, but we're gonna have fun at their expense. Hi, reader. This is the second time we've interrupted your reading recently, but 98% of our readers don't give. Many think they'll give later. No, they don't. Those that don't give so this is so obnoxious, so offensive to me. This Wednesday, we ask you to protect Wikipedia. I mean, the way they present themselves is an absolute joke. And this happened earlier. I don't know if it's going to happen now. When I scroll down, yeah, there's a pop-up at the bottom, a red pop-up that said, this isn't a paywall. It's another, as I scroll down the Wikipedia article, another pop-up getting in my face and my business, trying to get me to give them money, donate. Well, if anybody's listening to this going, well, yeah, Matt, they need funding. No, they don't. Okay. This is, for the most part, countries don't exist. It's one world system with all the ECB, the Fed, the European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, all the money printing central banks are all tied together, probably produce trillions a month to keep the system going, unlimited money and fund creation from the creepy back room and the screen. Money is never an issue. And they put some of these trillions they put in their own pockets, of course, their own investments. There's probably another layer that doesn't need money at all. But this is the ultimate tool of reality itself, telling people what is real and what is not. Well, let's go to Wikipedia and see. See, I was right, Tom. And he's like mocking somebody down the Thanksgiving. I was right, Tom, down the Thanksgiving table. Look, Wikipedia just said. People, they've been trained that this is the authority. There's no scenario in the history of histories where this would be allowed to go out of business or to go under it doesn't even need money. It doesn't need a passport to get on a plane. Oh, these people work for Wikipedia. Come right on. Do you need a boarding pass? No. Go right on. This is the ultimate. This is Snopes times 1 billion. There's no situation. The only reason for this is it puts in the mind of the dumb little idiot, great washed people that this is just another struggling .com like all the others, and they need this is a real interest, a real venture, and they need funding. And it's a reminder that it's just real people working for you, just trying to do the best that they can for you. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. If there's one thing in this world that would never need a penny, it's Wikipedia. I assure you. But anyway, enough on that. I wasn't even going to say anything, but then I scroll down and I get the other obnoxious, if you can see it at the very bottom, it's probably half of it's cut off. The other, this isn't a paywall. We'll cut to the chase. 98% of Wikipedia readers don't give. They simply look away, as I am. Go screw yourself, Wikipedia. Go bother somebody else. Okay, guys, looking at my notes, everything major has been covered. I'm just going to pop around to some images here. Not that you need to see the image, just to see if it triggers my, not social justice warrior triggering, but trigger my memory in case I miss something from the movie. One thing, again, this is being goofy again, just catering to the few people that are in quarantine in the outback desert, maybe like 100 miles below Perth or something. This woman here, the Seinfeld episode of The Hot or Not kept coming to me, where in some light in Seinfeld that she looks beautiful, really, it was I think she looks similar to this. And then in another light, Jerry would turn the corner and like car headlights would hit her, and she'd be like, they have her looking like 20 years older and something wrong with her. The same thing with this woman. I forget the name of the actress, but here's her name is Ren, not Sam, Poe, Ray, Finn, or Do, Ray, me, but Ren. Because no audience could be expected to understand a lead character or heroin. If you can, is it heroin or heroin that has more than one syllable? Nobody could be expected to comprehend that. So sometimes she's like, wow, she's hot. But I'm telling you, you will see her in other scenes, and it's like, not. Like, no. Or even, this is even one where the Apaco Paco Taco Army, Trans Taco Drop the Chalupa Army is going to tell me, they're going to inform me, as they usually do, that Matt, don't you know, you've been in this truth thing a while. When you get these feelings, hot or not, it ain't what you think it is, my man. There's a very special package down there that I'm sure I'll hear from the T apocalyptic army on this one. But I don't know. I'd take my chances. But what's the worst that could happen? Little surprise, and you just politely excuse yourself. No big deal. Not that that's ever happened to me, but not that there's anything wrong with it either. Well, there is, but anyway. So you'll see. It'll go back and forth if you're a man, and you'll say, "Boy, she's hot." Then you go, "No, I don't know. It's weird. It's really every time I thought about that Seinfeld episode 10 times during this movie. Well, Matt, should you be thinking about that, or should you be studying it for truth and other IXXI drops? You're right, but I'm human. Well, I didn't say only. I'm in the human experience and the out. I didn't say only, because that's very limiting. Never say I'm only human. That's the language of English creep spellcraft, where you basically you kind of mini dooming yourself and eroding yourself, just like 3 weeks ago. I have no power. I lost my electricity. No, I lost my electricity. Not I have no power. I lost my electricity. Always put it in a way that creep Edison can understand. All right. So there's that. Let's look at some of the pictures here. This is a pretty good picture. The administering of the black goo into the right eye. And if anybody, there's people in this truth community that are, they might not be Harold Klaus Vea experts at black goo, but they know what, the whole. Look, guys, I've been around. It's not my first rodeo. How long have I been doing this? I know it's an AI. Sentience of some kind that people think is, I'm aware of the basics, but if somebody wants to relate the black goo concept to potentially what is being presented in OtherLife here, is there a black goo, somebody say, the AI that wants to, the concepts we keep talking about, eroding, quote, the real world, when how many layers down are we, now? It seems like we're just one death is the final. This could be Inception. We could be multiple layers down, where the technology or the AI or whatever is always trying to get us a layer lower. And the layer lower would be a merging of ourselves with what Elon Musk and what his creepy ways and Ray Kurzweil, going lower, going into the computer, going into, uploading consciousness, or what's that Netflix series is called Upload. And once you see the first episode, you've seen it all. And it's, I watched the first episode. It's interesting, Upload, but only, then it's just a stupid soap opera. But if you watch the first episode, you've seen it all. He's he's on his deathbed, this young guy, I forget, a motorcycle accident. I forget what his girlfriend's like, sign here. Yeah, I need to be with you. You could put your consciousness into a computer. And they're like on his deathbed, he signs. And then she's like, oh my gosh, he can be with her through a monitor. And it is really him. They have his whole consciousness in Upload. I think it's Netflix. And then after about a week, she gets bored with it. And she's like, well, aren't we going to spend time together? She's like, no, honey, you stay in the computer there. I'm going to go out with my friends. She just completely starts to blow him off. And he's like, well, I'm stuck here for all eternity. And after a week, after 7 days, she starts to blow him off. Anyway, after you've seen the first episode or two of Upload, I think it's called Upload. There is no more reason to watch it, but it's pretty interesting. So, A Cure for Wellness, guys. If anybody's seen this one, it's on my list. Please comment. A Cure for Wellness is absolutely on my list of what I've been told I need to see. If anybody wants to comment, I forget why it's on my list. I have no notes associated with it. Okay, this is fun. Okay, we finally see Sam here. He's a real asshole. He's the business. They're 50-50 partners, and he's less the technology guy, but more the business man who's willing to just And he screws her over, and he's just a nasty dude. Here's something called Time Lapse. Is that another movie? Time Lapse, with maybe the plot is similar. Once you go under into something, the time is dilated or stretched. That seems to be a repeating theme. Probably ending the video in a minute, guys, unless I see something that really gets me to remember something I saw. Not much. In fact, the movie is not that well known. In fact, we're getting, the images aren't even, at this point, even associated with, that's interesting. I've never seen that movie poster. OtherLife with, is that the same movie? Yeah. Put somebody's head in a cube. The cube, I mean, that's another, honestly, why, I know the relationship to Saturn and all that, but I mean, why the cube is, makes its appearance again in this film, I couldn't intelligently talk about Otherworld. All right, guys, I guess that's it. Here's something called Beats that I'm not going to be in some of these horrible movies. Most movies are horrible nowadays. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me. I hope this went well, and if another Truth movie pops up, okay, this is interesting. OtherLife goes live. There's always this countdown clock. It goes live where everybody will be able to experience the virtual reality, and then just like 5 days out here, they start experiencing their problems and their glitches. So I do have more movies on the list, and I hope to do one of these about once a week. Thanks.